Hi, my name is Jeff and welcome to my workshop. Today we're going to be working on repainting and weathering this cement covered hopper for the Arlington Valley Railroad. It is one of the fictional railroads of the Arlington Heights Society of Model Engineers Club layout. We will start, as we normally do on a project like this, by disassembling the model. This is an old Varney kit, so it's been around a while, but somebody's done some work on it. It's got sprung trucks, and the wheel sets are plastic and have what used to be called pizza cutter flanges. They're very deep flanges that will not run on Code 83 track. So we're going to remove those. I'm not a fan of sprung trucks, particularly ones that have metal side frames like these, because it's very difficult to tune them. So we'll be replacing the trucks as well. This also has horn hook couplers on there, so we'll be replacing those with Katie's as we go. But we're going to get the car disassembled. We remove the trucks, and then we'll remove the center beam, which will also open up the coupler pockets. And it's just a matter of undoing the two screws that hold it in place. By the way, if you learned something from this and you enjoy the video and you want to see more of it, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. And make sure you hit like, and leave a comment on the video. It does help the YouTube algorithm. So, as we finish disassembling this, in addition to removing the underframe, we are going to save those screws for when we reassemble the car, but we will discard the horn hook couplers. And one thing I did notice on here is that, unlike newer cars from Athearn, there are no weights attached to the bottom. But the top comes off, so there's room inside the car, since it's a covered hopper, to add weight here. But the car is extremely light, so we'll be adding some weight to the car as well. Okay, so the next step is going to be to remove the paint and lettering from this car. It's actually molded in black plastic, so there's no paint to remove, just the printing of the lettering. And we will do that by soaking the car in isopropyl alcohol and then scrubbing that off with a toothbrush. The alcohol will also clean any dirt and debris that's on the top of the car, so we'll give that a quick soaking as well so we can clean that. We'll let this sit for a day or so, and then we'll be able to try and scrub off the lettering. And I am using... We'll be back in a minute when it's ready to be removed. Okay, so we'll remove the glove. You'll notice I'm wearing gloves just so I don't have alcohol on my hands too much. I'm using an old battery-powered toothbrush to try and scrub the lettering off. It's going slow, but it'll eventually all comes off the car, but it'll need a little more soaking first. And once the car is stripped, I painted it with a gray primer that we use on the Arlington Valley Railroad, and gave it a gloss coat, clear gloss coat. Now we're going to cut out the decals. I'm starting with the railroad name. It'll go up near the top, centered on the car. And when I do this, I use a number 11 blade in my hobby knife. When I'm cutting decals, I always start with a fresh blade. As I do with most projects, a new sharp blade is not going to slip on you, and it is safer to use than a dull blade. Right now I'm just cutting about the lines above and below and between the two sets of decals that'll be the railroad name on the top of the car, one for each side. And then we can connect the ends to remove those 3 decals from the sheet. And the center cut wasn't quite long enough, so we'll just trim that out a little bit and get those separated. Now we'll get the rest of the decals we need ready. So now with the decals cut, I've got them laid out on the car side just so I have an idea of where they're going. Once I'm happy with where they're going to be placed, I will pack most of them up. I just put them in a lid of a old pill bottle. I have the decals for the other side in the pill bottle. And this way we can apply the decals one at a time, but we have them all handy and easy to find. So to apply the decal, I soak it in water for about 10 seconds, and I use a distilled water. I get it $1 a gallon at my local grocery store. But just 10 seconds in the water, and then I set it on a paper towel to let the water absorb into the decal and separate it. For decal setting solution, I'm using Salva-Set here. Somebody recommended it to me as our club decals are older and starting to get a little stiffer. They thought this might be easier. My experience was that it softened the decal a little too much when I'm first applying it, but it really did a great job of snugging it down at the end. So the rest of the decals I used a combination of Micro-Set and Salva-Set. Micro-Set at the beginning and then Salva-Set once the decal was in place. So now we can just take the decal and float it off the paper and into position on the car side. And just use the toothpick to nudge everything into place. And we've got the rest of the decals from our set on, and then we'll just apply some Salva-Set to them to snug them down, and then check for air pockets once that dries. If there are any, we'll pop them with the tip of our hobby knife, and then apply more Salva-Set. You'll notice that the data is missing from the cars. That'll be added in a little bit in a separate decal application. I just didn't have the decals in stock and I was waiting for them. They were on order. Now, of course, we're going to do the same thing with the other side of the car. Okay, once the decals are applied, one thing I noticed is that this side is missing a ladder. So I had some extra ladder stock on hand, so I painted one ladder up and just going to apply some plastic solvent cement to it and glue it on. I use a Fowler Expert Solvent Cement, and I like that a lot because it will go through the paint, which means I don't have to strip paint off of the model or clean it off to get a good solid adhesion. This will attach itself beautifully to the model. And we'll let that cure overnight before we move on. So as you can see, the data decals have come in, and I've added those to the car and given the car a coat, a spray of a clear matte finish. So now it's time to reassemble the car. I'm using Katie 158 scale head couplers. These are a whisker coupler. They just go into the center beam and then it gets screwed into place. I'm using my screw holder to get it started and then switch to my screwdriver. Now this model had round-headed screws for the truck and a flat-headed screw for the center beam. So we did that. You can see these are the new trucks. These are from Tichy Train Groups. I found them at my local hobby shop, and metal wheel sets that are standard. I used a 36-inch wheel set just because of the weight of the car. I figured 36 would probably be appropriate here. I'll use a screw holder just to get it started and then switch to the screwdriver and tighten it down. And then we'll repeat on the other side. Okay, with the trucks installed, let's check the coupler heights. Get it on a piece of track with our Katie coupler height gauge. Well, this side looks good. Let's flip it around and see what the other side looks like. Well, this one's low, so looks like we're going to need a couple of Katie red washers to fix that. So we'll just remove the truck on that end of the car and then slip the washers over the screw and remount the truck to the car. And that looks good. When I weighed the car, it was a little bit light, so we're going to have to add weight to it, but I want to first start by using an Indie ink, an alcohol wash to just kind of get into the grooves of the roof walk and to kind of bring out some of the details on the roof itself. We'll do this with the sides as well, sides of the car as well. I added some weight to the car. I brought it up to NMRA standards. This car was about 4¼ inches long, which means at 1 ounce plus a ½ ounce per inch, it needed about 3 1/8 ounces total weight. This was a little light, but the 2 large nuts, 2 small nuts did the work. Here I'm using panel liner to further enhance and create shadows next to the raised beams and along the rivet lines along the side of the car. This is a product I hadn't used before. I've seen a number of videos that used it, and I thought I'd give it a try. This is from Tamara, and I like the way it worked. It gave me a good look. It flows easily on there. I added some light tan paints, different shades, to create the appearance of cement that had been on there. And then I'm going to add some rust to the roof walk. And I apologize, I did not get the painting on tape. Somebody who shall remain me forgot to hit the record button. So I apologize for that. But basically I brush painted along the edges of parts, and then I use sponge paint to create the appearance of the blotchy appearance that of stuff that had just kind of fallen in random spots. I'm also using pan pastels to create a rust appearance on the roof walk and on the hinges and of the roof hatches, and then a little darker rust in random spots. Then a little light chalk to fade the sides a little bit and kind of let everything blend together. A little bit of light brown dirt on the trucks and along the bottom of the cars where it gets kicked up by the wheels. Also along the discharge chutes. And we'll add a little bit of rust at random places to the sides of the trucks. Do the same thing on the other side on the ends. We're going to get some rust on the brake wheel and on the ladder. And some dirt along the bottom. So there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you have, please make sure you hit that like button. Give me the thumbs up. I do appreciate it. And stay tuned for whatever turns out to be my next project. Look forward to seeing you there. Thank you and have a great day.